The date is Thursday, January 16. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Leaders from across the island converged on the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Thursday for the annual National Leadership Prayer Breakfast. Held under the theme Pursuing the Power of Peace, the breakfast was addressed by St. James Custis Bishop Conrad Pitkin.
We cannot survive as the human race if we continue to kill and destroy one another. We cannot survive and thrive without unity, cooperation, and good relations. We cannot grow and flourish in our economy without wholeness, without caring for one another. We cannot, my brothers and sisters, flourish as a beautiful nation, a shining example of a nation, at peace with itself, at peace in its communities, at peace in its home, without concern for the well-being, completeness, prosperity, and a focus on human welfare.
The Violence Prevention Alliance's Child Resiliency Program will be this year's beneficiary as the NLPB celebrates its 40th anniversary. The government will be embarking on a national dengue cleanup drive as it continues to combat the dengue outbreak. This from Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, as he provided an update at a post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
A major feature will be the national cleanup activation, which we had previously announced in Parliament, myself and the Honorable Prime Minister. That was part of dealing with solid waste, which is a major source of breeding for dengue. And Minister Grange will speak to that.
The Culture Ministry, led by Olivia Grange, is among the ministries that will be active in the response to the dengue outbreak through its National Labor Day Secretariat.
The National Dengue Cleanup, which will take place over 3 days, January 24, 25, and 26. And during this time, we will search for and destroy mosquitoes and their breeding sites in homes, communities, schools, workplaces, churches, everywhere. We say, mosquitoes wanted, dead, not alive.
The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, will also be undertaking cleanup work in 30 other communities. Meanwhile, local government minister Desmond McKenzie says the local authorities are playing a significant role in response to the dengue.
We have undertaken to hold some 14 town hall meetings in every parish capital across the country between now and the end of March. And the main feature of these town hall meetings will be the question of the dengue response to the various communities. The Social Development Commission, the SDC, have been tasked with the responsibility of coordinating the community-based activities within the respective communities across the country, working closely with the local authorities to coordinate the programs.
Minister McKenzie says the local authorities have established a dengue response committee to operate outside the normal public health committees. Sections of St. Andrew and Portmore will be experiencing water supply restrictions effective this week. In a media release Wednesday afternoon, the National Water Commission, NWC, said this is due to a shortfall of approximately 2 million gallons of water daily as the Wells H facility remains out of operation due to internal electrical challenges. The NWC said the water supply schedule is intended to alleviate service disruptions to a number of areas served by the facility until the matter is resolved. It said sections of St. Andrew, including Kent Village, Spanish Down Road, Malines Road, Washington Boulevard and sections of downtown Kingston will receive water supply between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. The NWC said areas in Portmore, including Edgewater, Waterford, Brayton, Independence City and surrounding communities will receive water between 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. Jamaicans will soon be using electronic passports. Chief Executive Officer of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, Andrew Winter, says work is far advanced in the implementation of what would be a historic innovation.
This new booklet will indicate to any country that we go that our systems now are fully in line with any passport system, and it also assists in ensuring that we Jamaica are fully on board with all the technology, and the person who is the holder of our passport, their identity has been authenticated and verified. What are the benefits of the e-passport? Faster and more secure passport examination, authentication and matching of passenger with identity through biometric verification. The public key directory, part of the public key infrastructure, is tied to check-in and speeds up the processing of the boarding of passengers. E-passport would add a layer of security to our current machine-readable passports by embedding an electronic chip in the booklet. This electronic chip will store the biological information visibly in the passport as well as the digital security features.
Winter was speaking on Wednesday at a press briefing hosted by the Science, Energy and Technology Ministry in Kingston. The briefing was to announce national public key infrastructure developments. These will help to lay framework for the National Identification System NIDS. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams spoke of the significance of these systems in transitioning Jamaica into the digital age.
So how do all of these kind of non-national identification system activities link into the national ID or to a digital society? Where does the e-passport fit into all of this? Well, the PKI infrastructure, when implemented, would also provide the security, as you heard Vernon said earlier on, for the national identification cards. For right now, PICA and eGov are the first movers. Coming down the line next to use the PKI infrastructure will be the RGD, the Register General Department, so get ready. Their new self-service web portal, when developed, will allow us to apply online, print our digital birth certificates. And I don't believe that there's any other document as personal as our birth certificates. So everything that I've described so far and that prior speakers have spoken to are part of the building block, part of the foundation on which will sit the national ID.
The government will be putting more teeth in the law by imposing harsher sanctions for owners of dogs that attack, injure, or cause the death of a person. Minister with Oversight for Education, Youth and Information, Carl Samuda, made the announcement at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
Cabinet has given approval for a proposed reform to the Dogs Liability Injuries Act by replacing it with a new law that will provide for criminal and civil liabilities for an owner of a dog that attacks, injures, and or causes the death of a person. Cabinet has given approval for drafting instructions to the Chief Parliamentary Council.
Mr. Samuda said the beefing up of the legislation has become necessary owing to recent incidents of dog attacks on several members of the public. He highlighted a case that caught public attention, last September's attack on a teacher in St. Andrew.
You'll recall that one of our teachers from the St. Richard's primary was attacked severely, very severely, and in fact I'm sure that she's going to bear the effects of that attack for the rest of her life. She's being attended to as we speak because it will require a lot of work beyond
the particular hospital treatment that she has received. So it is a very timely situation. People must be held accountable for the management and control of their animals. And it cannot be that persons' lives are exposed by careless owners of pets.
The Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, is to ramp up its due diligence efforts to ensure that checks it accepts from taxpayers are valid. According to the Auditor General, Pamela Monroe Ellis, during financial year 2018-2019, the TAJ was offered 209 invalid ones, amounting to $43.816 million. The checks were submitted to TAJ at the Constant Spring and Crossroads Collectorates in St. Andrew, but they were dishonored by the bank. Monroe Ellis disclosed that some of these checks were missing signatures and there were differences between words and figures. She said that TAJ has advised the Auditor General's Department that steps will be taken to address the weaknesses identified. Those would include the development of a standard operating procedure and the requirement for monthly reports on dishonored checks. The department noted that while TAJ made some progress in the recovery of advances, outstanding ones at March 31, 2019 totaled $14.277 million. That included personal advances of $183,000, which have remained outstanding after 4 years. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Olivia Grange is urging Jamaicans to play their part in ending gender-based violence. Her appeals comes in light of the violent deaths of 2 young women over 24 hours this weekend at the hands of their spouses. She's quoted saying, "By our intervention, we will save lives. We all can help to put a stop by getting involved to end gender-based violence that we know is taking place next door." End quote. Ms. Grange was speaking at the opening ceremony for the Women's Voice and Leadership Program America's Workshop at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston on Tuesday. The 2-day workshop, hosted by the High Commission of Canada to Jamaica and Global Affairs Canada, brings together 45 implementing partners, stakeholders and collaborators from across the Americas to establish a collective vision of what the region can achieve through the WVL program. Some operators of public passenger vehicles remain staunchly opposed to the requirement for all new public passenger vehicle applicants to have their units fitted with tracking devices. A year ago, the government announced the PPV requirement, but head of the Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators, JATU, Lewis Burton, says the operators are now exploring legal options like the Office of the Public Defender to overturn the measure, which the government implemented last February. The requirement is part of the criteria for new road licenses under the government's electronic fleet management system. Last Friday, the Transport Authority reiterated that new road license applicants are mandated to have a tracking device installed on their vehicles as at February 17, the start of the 2020-2021 license period approaches. Members of the Cabinet are set to start a 3-day retreat Thursday to put final touches to the income and expenditure plans for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Minister with responsibility for information, Carl Samuda, detailed the retreat at a post-cabinet media briefing on Wednesday. Embattled principal of the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, Dr. Nicolene DeGrassi Johnson, is likely to remain on leave pending the completion of the probe into matters affecting the St. Andrew-based institution. Information Minister Carl Samuda made the disclosure at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
Well, the principal, it is likely that the principal will remain on leave. And the process is expected to be within 2 months. We will have it completed.
Last May, reports of several alleged victims of sexual harassment perpetrated by a male lecturer at the college were published in the press. The victims complained that school administrators had not treated the complaints with urgency and seriousness. When you get a tattoo, you modify your body with a design, inserting ink, dyes, and pigments, either indelible or temporary, into the dermis layer of the skin to change the pigment. American researchers estimate that about 4 in every 10 young adults aged 18 to 29 have at least one tattoo. Some people react badly to the inks, substances that aren't meant to go on or in the body. This week, we hear from longtime cosmetologist Kerry Spencer, owner of Salon Innovation, about, you guessed right, tattooing.
Thank you for having me.
So how long have you been in the field of cosmetology?
I've been doing this far too long, about 30 years, although I'm just about 30 years old, but yeah, 30 years.
And when did you get interested in the tattoo aspect?
I have been doing tattoos for about 16, 17 years. We were one of the first companies to start doing tattooing in Jamaica.
Wow. Wow. So you have owned Salon Innovation for how long? You've been in cosmetology, but you are one of the premier salons here in New Kingston and on the island. How long have you been the proprietor of Salon Innovation?
I've been operating Salon Innovation from 1990.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a long time.
Yes.
So understandably, you were approached to be a part of writing the standards of tattooing. Tell me about that.
Well, I was approached by the NCT vet to write the standard for tattooing for Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. So basically, we're in, the standards are already written, and it's just for it to basically pass by the board so that we can implement the safety on how to go about choosing the right person for your tattooing. So basically what the heart will be doing is certifying tattoo artists in the industry. So of course, people will feel more comfortable going out to get a tattoo done, because of course their sanitization and sterilization has to be at 100% before they can pass these tests.
That's understandable. So with that said, is there a particular license that you have to get to do tattooing or tattoo removal?
Well, for tattooing, now you can go through the Ministry of Health to get your license. As well as for tattoo removal, there isn't a lot of people who does tattoo removal here in Jamaica, but I did my course in Florida. I did it through the ultrasonic School of Laser Tattoo Removal. And from there, I've been certified. I'm 100% certified to do laser tattoo removal here. What the laser does is break up the ink, break it up, and then the body get rid of it. So the procedure, when someone comes in, of course, you have to consult with them, find out how long since they have the tattoo, how reason for taking it off, because you have some people who say they want it off and then later on they decide that, hey, they don't want it off anymore. So, you do a consultation first with the client to make sure what is it, how do we go forward. And basically we have to, we do a measurement. So if a tattoo is like 2 inches or 4 inches long, we do a measurement, and then from there we come up with the price of what it would cost. So of course, you do your cleansing, you cleanse the area, you make sure that there is no hair left on the area that you're going to do the laser removal from. And from there, we set the machine according to the size of the tattoo and the color. So we have different gauges that you will use depending on how much color you have in. But I must tell you that black is the easiest color to be taken out. But colors take a much longer time.
Speaking of time, how long does, say, a basic procedure last?
Say a 4-inch tattoo may run about 10-12 minutes, but the bigger it is, then the more time it will take. As well as for colors take a longer time, so we have different what they call it, different crown heads of the laser machine. So you have the ones that remove black and you have the ones that remove color.
Does it hurt to remove a tattoo?
It really doesn't hurt. It feels like mosquitoes, you know, so it's more discomfort than pain.
The report continues next Thursday, where you'll see the procedure of safely removing a tattoo. The state-owned oil refinery Pbcj says E1087 will sell for $121.22 per liter, and a liter of E1090 will sell for $124.04. Automotive diesel oil will move down by $2.91 per liter to sell for $131.52. The price of kerosene will go down by $3.06 to sell for $107.61. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go up by $1.02 to sell for $35.58, while butane will move up by $1.93 to sell for $45.66 per liter. Do remember, retailers will add their markups to these announced prices. The US dollar is being traded at Jamaican $137.29, up by 28 cents. According to the Bank of Jamaica's daily exchange trading summary, the Canadian dollar is being traded at $103.06, down from $103.66. While the British pound sterling is being traded at $178.89, up from $176.61. In regional news, ongoing relief efforts in the Bahamas is to get a shot in the arm with $1.5 billion in assistance as it seeks to rebuild the country battered by a Category 5 hurricane last September. A United Nations Development Program sponsored Hurricane Dorian pledging conference held on Monday and attended by more than 300 local and international delegates also resulted in undisclosed pledges. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says the pledges were an important step in the reconstruction and rebuilding of areas affected by Hurricane Dorian. In sports, Jamaica's reigning Olympic sprint hurdles champion Omar McLeod will square off with top Americans Grant Holloway and Devon Allen in the men's 60 meters hurdles at the 113th Millrose Games in February in the United States. This will be the first meeting since last year's World Championships between McLeod, who fell in the final in Doha, and Holloway, who went on to claim gold. In other sporting news, the West Indies under-19 team is celebrating its back-to-back wins in the warm-up matches ahead of the ICC Youth World Cup, defeating Scotland by 126 runs in Pretoria on Wednesday. West Indies' first game in the tournament will be on Saturday against Australia. Their group also includes England and Nigeria. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.